Hey everyone, welcome back to a Born Again original. This time we're going to be talking about the Unabomber, also Luigi Mangione, the CEO killer, and just some the reasons why I think they did their shootings and their bombings. Um, yeah, and it just goes back to the CIA, and it goes back to mind control techniques and MK Ultra. So we're just gonna start it. We're gonna go right to Luigi and just start it there. So Luigi Margione, he's somewhat of an internet sensation right now, considering the fact he shot a CEO of a big insurance company for healthcare. Um, the things that I would like to talk about today are just the fact that it may have been set up, right? Like, you don't just get random people who are highly educated and highly just computer science geeks, right? Just got people that are working on computers to be able to print a 3D like a 3D gun, right? With a silencer, not only shoot the guy, but it jammed and he popped it back in himself. Like he unjammed it himself. If you watch the recording, I don't think I could put it in this video, but if you watch the recording, it looks like an actual assassination. So it just makes you wonder, right? Like, what is the big news about? What are all these things for, right? Like, if it's a distraction, like they like to do, like to big media points, so people are distracted. You guys need to research the drones and like the unidentified flying objects that are going over New Jersey and back into the sea by New Jersey. Like they're in the sea. Do some research on those because that's what I believe they're trying to cover up right now. And I'm not saying I believe in aliens or anything. They're stacking things on top of each other. Like, so this big story about the CEO and not trusting the government and not trusting big healthcare and causing a divide between two classes, right? That is leading into um, how George H.W. Bush said in a speech once. He said that in order to make the world a one world government, right, there would need to be a threat from above, right? So that means Project Bluebeam. That means who knows, right? There's a lot of interesting things going on, and it's just you have to look around and just not attach yourself to the most popular story because there are, like I said before, unidentified flying objects flying over military bases around the world right now. Like I think they're actually in the UK as well. So New Jersey for sure, and they're going back in the sea. Yeah. So that's just what I wanted to add. Anyway, back to Luigi. So this guy, he very educated, comes from a very rich family as well. And that's the target for these people. Then when you're doing MK Ultra, you can fracture their mind. You can get in there and use them towards your own goal. Because they're not. If a street guy went up and did it, it'd be more believable, right? Like if a random homeless guy was like, "Oh, I'm gonna shoot the CEO," but this was so well planned in the fact that he caught him walking out of a hotel that he knew he stayed at frequently. Very interesting. So we're just gonna go on to the next piece, like next photo I have for you guys. So I'm in conspiracy here, and apparently, according to this account, around 6 months ago, Luigi Mangione went missing and stopped communicating with his friends and family. Now I do not know how true this is. I'm not entirely sure at all. But Captain Mangione, hey, are you okay? Nobody's heard from you in months, and apparently your family's looking for you. Thinking of you, prayers and every day in your name. You are missed and loved. Hey man, I need you to call me. I don't know if you're okay or just super isolated place. I have no service, but I haven't heard from you in months. Your commitments to me for my wedding and And if you made commitments to me for my wedding, and if you can't honor them, I need to know so I can plan accordingly. So either this guy's a really, really bad friend, and he's ditching this guy for his wedding, or let's say maybe he's forcibly abducted into a experiment or mind control ring. Because when you have money, when you're connected to Ivy Leagues, you're connected into Freemasonry, people who practice the occult. So 6 months before, just keep in mind, 6 months before he was missing and not talking to anybody, apparently. We don't know this for sure. Okay? So we're gonna go to the next one. Alright, and so next we have his books that he was reading. Atlas Shrugged, American Prometheus, The Triumph and Tragedy of G. Oppenheimer, Infinite Jest, The Great Conversation. So basically they're showing that he's educated and smart. And then the last book is Our Final Hour, a scientist warning to how error, terror, and environmental disaster threaten humankind's future in this century. They're trying to model this guy, I feel like, kind of like after the Unabomber. They're using aspects of him and saying that he's a fan of his to kind of make their mark, because Ted was also another one of the CIA's assets, in my opinion. Like, once we get into that side of the video, you're going to see that he was more than likely set up for that role. But either way, so they're making him kind of seem like a martyr, like he's relatable. I'm gonna go even more. So like I said before, like, this person thinks the real killer was a hitman for hire and is out of the country, possibly hired out of the country in the first place. Very possible, in the sense that the way he took him out was very calm and calculated. Like, you don't see these tech guys calmly kill people. You don't see that. There's something in the human brain, I think, that you have to switch off to be able to commit a murder or do a violent act. And to have the killer instinct and to be able to aim, you have to have some type of formal training. So either he was training for this hit for months, shooting a guy from behind and then escaping on a bike, or he was, or could have been set up again. Like, another thing I'm going to bring up is how he was found. They found this guy. Well, first of all, they found a backpack in a park in New York that had all the money in it, or not even money. It had Monopoly money in it, and clothing, like a hoodie, so they could connect it to him. And then when they found him hundreds of miles away, right? They found him hundreds of miles away. The guy was hanging out in a McDonald's, allowing people to take photos of him, and he stayed along for them to call the cops. So that, like, it makes you wonder, like, I don't know if you guys know anything about John Lennon's killer, but John Lennon's killer, he shot John Lennon and then sat there and started reading Catcher in the Rye. It does not sound like normal behavior to me, right? Like, that is the product of an MK Ultra type of thing. Like, let's say his program told him, be at this McDonald's at a certain time, right? Easily could have been done. It's easily set up. So we'll go further. So here's his LinkedIn, just that I wanted to show you. He's been a data engineer for a long time. It just shows he's very smart and very capable. He's not just like some guy. And then there's actually another thing I want to show you guys. Alright, so this next one is going to be, it's a PSYOP. This is on some video I found on YouTube. Luigi is the perfect recruit. Ivy League pedigree equals media catnip, relatable to both elites and the normies. Chronic pain, universal sympathy, use, emotional hook for the masses. Because apparently they were saying that his lower back was so bad that he was unable to be intimate with anyone. And they could use that as a possible motive for his wanting revenge against the insurance companies. So I don't know what that part is. Ayahuasca trip. I'm gonna look something up I didn't even know about. I'm gonna see if there's something that I'm missing. Because if Luigi did an ayahuasca trip, that can be demons or possessing you. It can also be like a mind control tool. It can give you profound delusions in order to program you. So I'm going to be one moment. So while I'm reading this article to see if he went on an ayahuasca trip or not, or if that was just a part of the video that didn't make sense. His family is very wealthy and a pillar of the community. That says a lot, like the people that are usually cultivating communities and usually doing things like that, they are Freemasons, and yet they are part of a thing that is much bigger than us. So let's say Luigi's father. Stop doing that. Cat's freaking scratching stuff. He's being a menace. Anyway, when they're the pillars of a town or whatever like that, you're gonna look at those people possibly doing rituals behind the scenes. Luigi maybe being a sacrifice to the system so that they may continue to have wealth. That sort of thing. Prominent Maryland family that owns country clubs, healthcare facilities, and real estate companies. So he's very rich. He might even, well, that's actually very crazy. He had a good job too. He's a data engineer. He lived in Hawaii. He's like obviously very physically active. He broke his back in a surfing accident. Okay, so he suffered a back break, we know that. Lifestyle. He's a track. Okay. Alrighty then. So none of the rest of that is relevant. I couldn't find anything about the ayahuasca trip, like we said. They planted the entities to break his spiritual defenses. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what that even means. This is cryptic tweets they feed on fear or cries for help before they fully got him. I don't know. Like, they're just this video that I found. Like, for half of it made sense. A little bit of it doesn't really make sense. I don't know what they're talking about. 6D demon fight? Like, we're not in Star Wars, my friend. Luigi Mangione is not a Jedi. He is a human being. So here's this Twitter header. And so people, they speak in codes, right? So they're like, oh, maybe he really likes this Pokemon. Maybe he's like his favorite Pokemon or something. Broken back. Dude's jacked. You can see he's very muscular. But you gotta look deeper. Because when there's esoteric signs, like the Bible is not going to speak to you in codes. And if people are doing, like, using the Bible in like a code kind of way, like this, you can kind of see that it's set up, right? So he had that there. And it's connected to this Bible verse because the Pokemon's number it's going to be 286, right? And so you go to Proverbs 28:6. Better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. So that's just another way of putting code into, like, I don't know what it is. It's some type of, it's ungodly for sure. But when these MK Ultra or these individuals that are committing these crimes do these things and bring the Bible into it, it seems like it's like maybe the Bible or certain verses are used as programming for them, because Ted Kaczynski also had Bible verses laid out and drawn over in the Bible they found. So we're gonna go to his manifesto. And like, to be honest, like it seems like this was like written by ChatGPT or something. To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I'll state plainly that I wasn't working with anybody. Like, what a way to cut any ties to any organizations or anything like that. How did he figure out where the guy was coming out? Why he liked to stay in the hotel? Like, which hotel he liked to stay in? How did he know that he could go a week beforehand to New York and kind of scope it out? I don't know. This is fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience. Like, they're making this guy sound like really ridiculous. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. Like, wouldn't he know if there's information there? Like, what do you mean? I don't know. This just seems like a fake letter. I'll have to find the other half for you guys. Spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so not much info there. I do apologize for any strife of traumas, but it had to be done. So he's apologizing for murdering. Okay, no matter what this guy's issue is, no matter like what he was doing, like CEOs and rich people, you can say all you want about them. These people have a family, okay? Like, I understand that he could have been the root of millions of people dying just because he's denying claims, all sorts of things like that. But he had a wife and 2 kids. You just have to think about that. Could have been a family man. Who knows, right? I think what it truly was is the CIA wanted him out of the way, and they needed something to get him out of the way, right? So keep going down. No, the reality is these. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. Like, you could, like, what? Who writes like that? You could have just said these parasites had it coming. Anyway, I'm not gonna make fun of them. We're gonna keep going down. I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. Either way, you can see that he has some animosity towards it, and this is the perfect way to get them off his trail. So next we're gonna go and we're gonna look at Ted Kaczynski, and just because they kept bringing him up in like news and all sorts of things like that, when this guy was arrested, it just made me think like, okay, this is obviously an MK Ultra or a situation where he is mind controlled. So here we are again. Ted Kaczynski is a very smart man. Unabomber, go down. Murdered 3 people and injured 23 between 1978 and 1995. People believed he believed to be advancing the modern technology and the destruction of the natural environment. He offered the industrial society and its future a $35,000 dollar, I don't know why I said that, word manifesto and social critique which opposes all forms rejecting leftism and advocating for a nature-centered form of anarchism. We'll go down. He moved to a remote cabin without electricity or running water near Lincoln, Montana, and lived as a recluse. Okay, and that was after he had a very promising career in mathematics, and he was able to just show he was a leading person in his field. Let's just say that He specialized in complex analysis. He was an unusual person. He was not like the other graduates. He was much more focused about his work. He had a drive to discover mathematical truth. And so if you're recruiting someone for CIA or someone you want to groom to be a higher up in the government in like the future, he would be a prime candidate. But what I think they did is when they took him and they tried to mind control him, they messed up. Like his brain didn't take the programming properly. Shout out to Truth Is. I'm still in their Discord. I haven't used it for a while though. Go down. He experienced intense sexual fantasies of being a female and decided to undergo a gender transition. Okay, so the guy was having some gender dysphoria. He felt disgusted about what his uncontrolled sexual cravings almost led him to do, and he felt humiliated. But just there came a major turning point in my life. Like a phoenix, I burst from the ashes of my despair to a glorious new hope. So that is very interesting. That's another thing they use in mind control. Actually, that's another thing they use to describe the New World Order. Is they're going to destroy this world, and from that build a new one. And just like that, they destroy your mind and destroy you as a person and build another person up. So that's very interesting. So I'm trying to find, I'll just be one moment here. So I go to Harvard University, and he matriculated at Harvard College, whatever, I don't care. I can't say that word. He lived at the Eliot House. And what I'm trying to get to is a psychological study. In his second year at Harvard, he participated in a study led by Harvard psychologist Henry Murray. So we see a man, when you see people that are grabbing their chin like that, it's not just because they are doing a stoic motion or a stoic look. It's because they are showing they are Freemasons. You can look up, there's a lot of this, you gotta find it. I can do a video on the symbolism and hand signals if you want at some point. But that's a hand signal. So subjects were told they would debate personal philosophy with a fellow student and were asked to write essays detailing their personal beliefs and aspirations, okay? So your deepest personal belief and aspiration. And so an anonymous individual belittle the subject in what Murray himself calls vehement, sweeping, and personally abusive attacks, using the content of the essays as ammunition. So that's a way to psychologically torment someone, 100%. And now you could see that maybe Kaczynski's lawyer later attributed his hostility towards mind control techniques due to his participating in Murray's study. He resented Murray and his co-workers, primarily because of the invasion of his privacy he perceived as a result of their experiments. Nonetheless, he was quite confident that his experiences with Professor Murphy had no significant effect on the course of his life. Mind control techniques, like they just say these things, but when you're dealing with people who are doing these false flags and all these other things, like, do you guys remember the Las Vegas shooter? He was another person who was tied to the CIA and they didn't have any answers, but his brother was an agent. That's another person who's mind controlled, right? I could do a video on him actually, if you guys want to, just let me know in the comments below. I was in Las Vegas a week after the shooting, okay guys? And when we went to the Hollywood sign there, there's so many memorials and stuff. You would almost feel sick from the spiritual, like the energy there. Like, I don't know how to describe that, but it's just like sadness and you feel heavy. So that would be a topic that I would love to talk about actually, is that. Let me know if you guys would want it below. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I think it's pretty like his manifesto is basically detailing what's going on today. Argue that most people engage in ultimately unfulfilling pursuits because of technological advances. He called these surrogate activities wherein people strive towards artificial goals, including scientific work, consumption of entertainment, political activism, and following sports teams. He states people do surrogate activities to satisfy the power process to which people strive to be independent and to achieve power over themselves. He predicted that technological advances would lead to extensive and ultimately oppressive forms of human control, including genetic engineering, and that human beings would be adjusted to meet the needs of social systems rather than vice versa. He stated that technological progress can be stopped, in the contrast to the viewpoint of people who, he said, understand technology's negative effects, yet passively accept technology as the inevitable. He called for a revolution to force the collapse of a worldwide technological system and held a close to nature, in particular primitive lifestyle, as the ultimate ideal. Kaczynski's critiques of civilization bore some similarities to I don't even know, I can't say that. But he rejected and criticized it. So, guy's crazy. Has a point in some ways. Still a crazy guy, still kill a lot of people. So you don't idolize those types of people, okay? We'll go to end this video, actually. 26 mark. So you guys, I really enjoyed talking about this today. And I really appreciate you guys for watching my videos and sticking around when I was not putting videos out like weekly. I went like almost 2 months with no uploads. I barely lost any subscribers, so thank you guys for sticking around. I'm back. I'm gonna keep making videos when I have the time. I've been sick this week, so I've been home from work. I've had a little bit more time to create things and been stuck with my thoughts, so that's why I've had so much stuff come out. And you know, you guys, once you find out about this information, it's easy to idolize it. It's easy to, you know, put this information above your own study time with the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, which I've been guilty of myself. I implore you guys to just dive into the Bible, read the New Testament, and understand the Lord and Savior. The Lord Jesus died for you, and He loves you, and He wants you to fully accept Him as your Savior. And once you do that, you will have no worries in your life. Everything that comes through your life that is bad will seem like nothing in the end. Because you know you have a greater purpose. You know this life, you're merely visiting this world. This life is just a dream in some ways. Your actions matter, but at the same time, you have to understand that you're put here to be tested, right? And so, with that, I will leave you guys. Talk to you soon.